I got the name Mama Hawk because I could spot an Asian in trouble a mile away. But long before college, there were people that I was taking care of.
If you thought crazy stuff only happened to me when my family was around, you'd be sorely mistaken. I've always been a magnet for crazy, especially during the school years.
So you know how your parents keep like everything that you did in elementary school? They just keep everything. Every paper, every little drawing you did, they saved everything. So I guess about a year ago now or so, my mom's going through her stuff and she finds my elementary school like box, everything I did in elementary school. And she takes out like a paper bag filled with stuff and she empties it. And in this paper bag are the Valentine's Day cards that I was given. And I'm like, that's such a weird thing to save. And like, I don't remember ever bringing those home. It's not something I don't know. I don't remember bringing those home. I don't remember any of that. But I'm going through it, and like I'm reading the names off one by one, reading the names off, and I'm like, Ma, there was a Japanese kid in my class? What? I don't remember this at all. There was a Japanese girl in my class, and I think, from what I can surmise, she was born in Japan, moved here for a few years, and then moved back to Japan. And the years that she was in my elementary school, I apparently hung out with her all the time and helped her with whatever. I don't remember any of this, but my mom does. And she was like, no. She was like your little girlfriend. You did everything together with her. And I was like, I don't remember any of this. Why don't I remember? I feel like that's something I would remember. Just hanging out with someone and helping them all day. I should remember that, but I don't for some reason. I just don't remember it. And then a few weeks later on Facebook, like out of nowhere, I get a message from this girl whose Valentine's Day card I had found, the Japanese girl, and she's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we went to school together. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? What timing? Like I didn't know she existed until like maybe 2-3 weeks before, and then she just appears on Facebook. Like, what timing? What a coincidence. So I'm thinking everything I did in college was something I was already accustomed to. I just didn't remember it. And that just gets me like on a weird tangent where I'm like, what else have I done in my life that I don't remember doing? Like, I always thought I had a pretty good memory, not for numbers or dates. Everyone knows I'm terrible at math. But what else have I done that I forgot? This episode, it's still part of the school years, but it's gonna be a little bit more personal than most of the other episodes. I mean, I know this whole series is about personal stories, but this one is kind of like me on the inside and what's going on. You guys know, like, the end of college was terrible for me, but the end of high school was also terrible. The end of high school was also terrible for me, but for a different reason. The end of high school, that was like the lowest point in my life mentally, as the end of college was the lowest point in my life physically. But at the end of high school, like, I was in a terrible place, and I was really depressed, and I didn't really seek any kind of help, which is really not what you should be doing when you're, trying to find a way to kill yourself. But I learned from it, and I'm better off now. And obviously I'm here, so I didn't go through with any of my plan. One thing that I will say probably saved me is that when I plan something, the plans are perfect. Like, nothing can go wrong. And I could never find a way to 100% kill myself. So, that makes no sense. Let me rephrase. I could never discover a way or a plan that would have a 100% success rate. And because of that, I never tried. Because the way I thought about it was, like, if you feel so bad about life, if you think that you're bad at everything and there's no point for you to keep on living, if you fail at trying not to live again, like, how bad are you going to feel? How bad are you going to feel? And that kind of kept me from trying anything. And For that part of my OCD, I thank you, because without that, I might not be here making these videos today. So, but really, for most of my childhood, for some reason, my goal when I grew up was to be a race car driver. I don't know why, but I wanted to drive a hot pink roadster. I have no idea where that came from. Maybe that's something I thought about or I saw sometime and I don't remember, but it stuck with me. For most of my childhood, if anybody asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, the answer was race car driver, drive hot pink roadster. No idea why or how that came about, but that was my answer. I would just shoot that right off. Bam. It was decided. And then after that, it was game designer, because game designer makes sense for me. We actually tried game design, and you've heard stories about that before. But the other day, when I had the guys over, and Grim was like, why don't we just try to make an RPG? And I just turned around, and I looked at him. Normally, I'm playful, but I just turned to the side, and I looked at him so angrily, and I was like, because you guys don't do shit. And that, like, I tried so many businesses after college, like, so many things to start up, and all of them failed. eBay is, like, the only one that's decent. Tutoring and editing didn't work out. Conversation partnering didn't work out. Game design definitely did not work out. But eBay has been like, all right, cool. I can get better and better with this. It's like the only thing that I had some degree of success with, besides YouTube, obviously, because I'm here and you guys are watching this video. So YouTube kind of, okay, I got my partnership, whatever, we're moving on. Race car driver, game design. And then I realized that I really like to help people and I like to teach people things. As you guys know, on this channel, there's been plenty of tutorials. I love to help people. And in like 11th and 12th grade, when I was at my lowest, I mentioned previously that meditation doesn't do for me what it did for me before. But basically, the only time I meditated was when I was ready to explode. Like that was the time I would sit in the dark and meditate and get rid of it. And one night in high school, you know, this is the lowest point in my life. I don't know what had happened, but I was really upset. And I remember that night I went upstairs in the old house and I sat in the dark and I curled up in the fetal position and I screamed and cried and I tried to claw my own skin off. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it doesn't really work, which doesn't make sense because I actually grow claws. Like my nails are hard as rocks and I can I can cut the shit out of things. But for some reason that night, it wasn't happening on my skin. I tried and nothing happened. And I went into school the next day. And as you guys know, math and me, we don't get along. I fucking hate math and I don't understand math. Like it goes in one ear and out the other. I don't get it. Unless it's physics-based math. If it's physics-based math, I'm good to go. I understand everything. It's fine. Because there's some science component in there. But regular math, the next day I went into class. I was in Pre-Calc. And the Pre-Calc teacher at my high school, this is the second high school because 11th, 12th grade and magnet school had already closed. So the Pre-Calc teacher had also taught my sisters. And like, so she sort of knew me and my family and she's kind of cool with my sisters. So I went in, I didn't do my homework. And because, you know, sitting in the dark, screaming and crying, trying to claw my own skin off, that doesn't leave much time to think about math. So I probably wouldn't have understood the homework anyway, to be honest. To be perfectly honest with you, I would have been like, I don't get math. She was like, where's your homework? And I was like, I didn't do it. I had a really bad night last night. And like, I didn't make eye contact when I said it. I just kind of looked at the floor. And like, math is a subject that I don't understand. I don't get math. And the teacher sort of knew me. And like, math is not a subject. I never thought of, how do I say this? You guys know, I've said it before, I have trouble like interacting with, I have trouble, yeah, I'm a Teletubby now. I had trouble before I got to college, connecting with as a person, someone who's older than me. So with all those factors based around that, I never expected the math teacher to be like, hey, is there something you want to talk about? I don't know if you could tell, but I'm like on the verge of tears right now. Like, I never expected in a million years for the math teacher to be the one like, do you want to talk about it? Like, is something wrong? And I think at that point, that's when my like race car driver into game design kind of got pushed to the wayside. And I was like, I want to be a teacher. I want to be able to help people on a daily basis, but also I want the chance. I want to be afforded the chance to help someone that needs help. Because, like, in that moment, even though I shied away from her help, the idea that someone with all these factors around them that would distance them from me tried to close the gap really showed me something. Like, teachers are very important, and not even for the educational value that they may provide to the next generation. Like, they're given a chance to get close to people that they wouldn't have otherwise, and that's super important in this world. Because you could grow up like me with my family that I would never look to my family for support. Like, I know at this point in life that they're not the people that I'm going to be looking to for support. So it's important that you all have some form of support out there. That there's at least one person on the planet you can go to for help if you need it. And it was kind of like, at that moment, I was like, I want to be a teacher. I want to be able to do this for other people because I know there are other people that need this. I know there are other people that need this. And now I'm not so sure if teaching is what I want to do. I mean, I still love helping people and I want to help them out, but I don't know if I want to do it in a classroom setting. I recently come up to, like, I like being able to do it here, where it's not a specific set of people that I can reach, but like here on YouTube, I could reach anybody. There'd be people all over the world that I could reach and I could help out. And I think this is probably a much better shot than teaching. So teaching in a classroom setting isn't really high on my priority list anymore, but I'd love to be able to help. One thing I don't think I've ever talked about. Yeah, I got the crying out of my system. It's cool. It's cool. It's not that I don't mind crying in front of people. It's just like, this story doesn't make me cry, and I don't want to be like the whole time because that's awkward. And it's not that sad a story, really. It's more disappointing than sad, this story. So I don't need to be crying while I'm telling it. You remember how the very first video in this playlist, in this series, is a dramatic reading of a yearbook signing? Did I ever tell you guys why that happened or how that came about? I don't think so. So why don't we take a break right now and talk about Rockman? I realized at the end of last season, it was full circle. I talked about everything that had happened that I had been mentioning previously up until that point, and I mentioned at the beginning, and I was like, oh, I'll tell you about it later. But bam, at full circle, that's where I tied up all the loose ends. But one loose end I did not tie up was the story of Rockman and why he's not on my channel anymore. So if you go back, way far back to like the videos on this channel from 2006 and stuff, there's a guy I played video games with. He went by the screen name Rockman. He's a Mega Man fan. For those of you that don't know, in Japanese, Rockman. Mega Man is Rockman in Japanese because he's rock and roll. Get it? Get it? Pretty much everyone's music related. Bass, forte, even though it should be bass, but whatever. So every once in a while, I'll get a message that's like, oh, you should play video games with Rockman again. And I'm like, nah. And I refer people to the video of the death threat that he left in my yearbook. Now, Rockman is a kid that had some issues. Gonna get that out the way right off the bat. Very kid with issues. Didn't get along with his parents that well. Kind of left by the wayside, if you could call it that. Doesn't really connect with other human beings. And this guy, this is a guy that would call at all times of the night because he needed some kind of support. And It's just the way he was. And like this kid, like his family, they kind of forgot about him, so to speak. So like he wouldn't have food, or he wouldn't have money to buy food. So me and my mom, I was like, Ma, can you help us out? And she was like, yeah, sure. So she would get me another lunch. She would make a second lunch, and I would give it to him at school. And he was over our house all the time, and we'd take him out and what have you. And like he would ask my mom for stuff like normally you would ask your own family about. Like he would ask my mom about relationship advice and what have you, which I should have known then. Anyone who asks my mom for relationship advice is obviously messed up in the head. We went like that for quite a while, like at least a year where he was over all the time. And over all the time we would pick him up. He called all hours of the day. And he had been talking about in our group of friends how he wanted to ask the prettiest girl in our school out on a date for months and months. He's like, I'm gonna ask her out, I'm gonna ask her out, I'm gonna ask her out, I'm gonna ask her out. And all of us in the group were like, bruh, just do it! Just do it! And finally, unbeknownst to me, what had happened was this guy, he went and asked the prettiest girl in our school out on a date, finally. And none of us had seen him that day, so we didn't know. He's probably avoiding us because of rejection and what have you. And we didn't know that he had asked her out that day. Now, he was totally okay with us as a group, for the most part. Except Fuzzy. He did not like Fuzzy very much, but that's a story for another day. Fuzzy is that Donkey Kong looking motherfucker in the death threat. Just so you know. Just so you know. He asked prettiest girl in our school out on a date. Prettiest girl in our school says to him, she says, no, I can't give you my phone number. My dad would kill me if I gave a guy my phone number. Okay? Remember this. That's what she told him. Now, later that day, this shows you how stupid I am when it comes to relationships. How absolutely stupid I am. So, prettiest girl in school, obviously I had a crush on her too, but I wasn't gonna do anything about it. And pretty much through school, like she had been telling my friends that she had a crush on me, and I didn't believe them because why would I believe that the prettiest girl in school has a crush on me? Why? Why would I believe that? That makes no sense to me. I felt like I was a zero, I was nothing. There's no way in hell the prettiest girl in school will have a crush on me, so I never believed them. And later that day, after Rock Band had asked her out, we were packing up for the day, and our lockers were like 3-4 away from each other. And I was at my locker, and she's at hers, and she comes over to me. And like, I'd known her before. Like the only conversations I'd had with her were spent in middle school because of the 2-year gap, really. We had a bunch of classes together in middle school. And I would have to put my head in my hands all the time whenever she spoke to me because I would start to blush. And I thought she thought something was very wrong with me, but she never noticed that I only spoke to her between the gaps in my arms while my head was down on the desk. But anyway, so like it wasn't like we didn't know each other. I definitely knew her. And we're at our lockers, and she comes over to me at mine, and she goes, hey. And I look up, and I'm like, hey, because at this point, I can talk to her. It's not weird anymore. I'm not that kid anymore where I can't talk at all to pretty girls. And so I'm like crouched down at my locker, and I look up, I'm like, hey, what's up? And she goes, here's my phone number. And me, being the idiot that I am, I look up at her and I go, why? Why? And she goes, she was not expecting the answer, why, to, here's my phone number. And she's like, in case I need the homework or something. And I look up at her and I go, we're not in any of the same classes. This is how stupid I am. We're not in any of the same classes. And she can't think of a clever response to that, so she's just like, no, what? Just take it. And I'm like, okay. And I take her phone number, and she walks away. And I'm like, well, that was weird. And so at the end of the day, I still don't know that Rockman has asked this girl out, and that she told him that she couldn't give her phone number to any guys because her dad would kill her. Also, we know her dad, and her dad is the sweetest person ever, so that was a very stupid... That was the worst response she could have given, because... Especially, Rockman had been in one of the classes that her father was teaching, so he knew that that's not something her father would say. And nope. That was a shitty excuse, a really shitty excuse. So at this point, I don't know Rockman has asked her out, and that was what her response was. And so I tell him at the end of the day, when I finally see him, I'm like, she gave me her phone number. Fucking weird. I don't understand. Why? She said for homework. We don't have any of the same, but I don't get it. He took that as me asking for it. As you can tell from the situation I just described, I did not. And also, he took that as, not only was it me asking for it, it was me trying to steal his girl. Which is not the case, because, like, you guys can even ask Liz. There was a dude she was dating right before me, and I was like, no, let him have his chance. Like, let him have his chance. That's the kind of person I am. Like, I'm not gonna have a fist fight over a girl. Like, no, you call dibs. It's your girl. That's just the way it is. That's the way I am as a person, however stupid that may be. So that happens, and really that's what sets him over the edge, because the only other thing about us that was pissing him off is that we used to play Gekido Ninja Taisen 4 as a group, like all day, every day. We come home after school, bam, play Gekido Ninja Taisen 4. Blah, blah, blah. Play all the time. However, when we play Gekido Ninja Taisen 4, there are two characters who are outlawed because they're cheap as fuck. There's Akamaru, who's outlawed because he's so fucking tiny that no one can hit him. And there's Karasu, who's outlawed because Karasu has like 600 points of super armor. Like, you cannot stun Karasu, and it just makes it really, really, really hard to kill him. So those two characters are banned when we play together. And Rockman always picked Akamaru. And then he would get mad that we beat the shit out of him. You picked the banned character that you knew was banned. We're gonna beat the shit out of you. We have to kill you first or you're gonna win with the banned character. And no, that's not gonna happen. Like, Akamaru is harder to kill than Itachi, and Itachi is like S tier in that game. Like, he's no, you kill fucking Akamaru, because Akamaru should not be played in friendly. Akamaru should not be played when you're playing to win. Like, that's not fair. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. So this me trying to steal his girl, which I wasn't really trying to steal his girl at all. Because again, why would I believe that me, this dude that wants to kill himself, why would I believe that the prettiest girl in school wants to date me, wants to hang out with me? Why? Now, when I say prettiest girl, it's not like all she had going for her was pretty. This girl went on to go to Harvard. She is brilliant. And when I see her posts on Facebook with her also perfect boyfriend, oh my god, her fucking, it's so infuriating that they're so perfect. They went to Harvard, they can both do art. I'm talking like Picasso level art, like, oh. And when they take pictures together and it pops up on Facebook, I think they're ads. That's how perfect these two are. And it's just like, I want to vomit at how perfect these two are. Like, why would I think a girl like that wanted to date me? Why? So this pushes him over the edge. And when I say pushes him over the edge, like, oh no, he's fucking gone. So after he writes the death threat in the yearbook, he starts calling my house all day long and all night. Like, from 10 to 11 to 12 to 13 to 14 to 13 to 14, yeah, okay, to 1 and 2 in the morning, he's still calling, and he's just trying to scream at us. And me and my mom were like, pick up the phone. You know who it is. Pick up the phone. So I just kind of avoided him from then on, and we haven't spoken again since. I've seen him one more time. I went home, and he was in the Best Buy, and I saw him, and he didn't see me, thank God. And I just was like, whoop! And I spun on my heel and left. I was like, nope, 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 I'm out. Fuck that shit. I'm out. And after me, who basically always took care of him, he moved on to another kid who had to call the cops on him twice because of death threats. And after that kid, he moved on to Grimjack taking care of him. And Grimjack, after a while, was like, I can't possibly take care of you the way you need it. So this kid, Rockman, as of right now, we don't know what he's up to or what he's doing. We know he's been in and out of the asylum, and maybe he should just stay there because they can help him. He really needs some help. But I just wanted you guys to know that Rockman will definitely not be in any more videos on this channel. So if you're gonna ask, where's Rockman? I'm gonna tell you, hopefully in the asylum. Hopefully in the asylum.
Hey there, guys and gals. I hope you're enjoying Season 2 of On Fairy Tales, The School Years. As always, you can click the link on the left to see the previous episode, or you can click the link on the right to see the playlist where you can see all the episodes so far.